You're listening to the Hunt Stealth Podcast with Ryan Uffins, the podcast where we dive headfirst into the wild. Whether you're an aspiring hunter or an adventurer seeking the untamed, together we'll explore the strategies and stories that lead to success in the great outdoors.
Welcome to another episode of the Hunt Stealth Podcast. Excited to have our guest Matt Tillotson on with us today. Matt is a hunter out of Wyoming. That's where he's based. He's involved in a couple fun little businesses, and he's been making the podcast circuit as of late. So excited to have him on, and appreciate you making the time, Matt.
Oh yeah, no, it's great, man. I appreciate you reaching out.
Yeah. So, hey, tell me, we were talking a little bit before, and we're kind of just like freewheeling here, which is how I normally like to do it.
That's all good.
Tell me a little bit. I know you're involved with a business called HuntQuarters. Why don't you explain to the folks what that is and maybe how it could benefit them?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I started I'm a partner of this company HuntQuarters, and it's fairly new. So it's got the same basic setup as like, your Huntin' Fool or your Go Hunt, but it's more specific to these Western states. So we have a lot of specialized knowledge on especially Wyoming, Idaho, Colorado, Utah, Montana. And because, I have 25 years of experience hunting these states for mule deer, elk, antelope, bears, the whole species, or everything basically. And my partner, Brad Carter, out of Afton here, he has similar knowledge, and so we decided to put together. It's a consulting business, basically a service, and you can sign up. It's $129 a year, which is pretty cheap, and you get unlimited calls. You also get kind of the insider podcast and tips and tactics for tailored towards whatever hunts you have coming up.
So somebody draws out like a limited tag entry in Wyoming, and like you're a guy that has a ton of knowledge, and they're like, man, I've wanted this and I want to go do this, but I don't know anything about the area. Yeah. That's where you guys could come in and kind of help fill the knowledge gap. Is that what I'm understanding that correctly?
Yes, exactly. Because we're in the hills. I mean, I'm in the mountains every weekend. So it's like having somebody with specific knowledge for that specific year, because every year changes. So like the draw results or the draws, the hunt statistics from last year, everything is only applicable to that current year. And so, like you get fires moving in, the vegetation growth is different. And
harsh winter.
Yes, like exactly. Yeah. I mean, you get somebody that lives within the the areas that you're going to hunt. They have that specialized knowledge. It's not just coming from a random generation of information off the internet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we talk all the time about like what helps people be successful versus not successful, and it's just like boots on the ground. I mean, if you can get there, great, but not everyone can make a trip up to, like I'm in Utah. If I draw something up in Wyoming or Idaho or Montana, I don't have the ability to just like drop what I'm doing and go run up on the weekends. I mean, some guys do, but not everybody can do that. And so it sounds like what you guys are doing at HuntQuarters is you're kind of like filling that void, like you said, where like you can be the boots on the ground for somebody and work within the network there. So
right.
You may be working with multiple people that's trying to, like you said, whether it's vegetation, fire, flood, whatever it is, hey, avoid this area, move up in this area so that when you go in there, you can fill that tag.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have legal restrictions. Obviously, we're not selling pins. We're not doing anything like that. We're not guides. So we have to keep it very generalized information unless somebody asks specifics. And then we can really dive into it. We don't want everybody hunting the same area, right? And so we have to be a little careful there for sure. But I'm telling you, for 129 bucks a year, it's so worth it. I would say, unlimited calls. It's a good deal, I would say.
So the key then for somebody that's thinking about working with you guys is to ask very specific questions.
That's it.
You,
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
just, you might not be able just to offer it up, but if the question is asked, you guys can share it.
Absolutely. Yep. And that's the kicker there is, if you do your little bit of research and you pick a canyon and you're like, hey, what do you think of this? I'm going to be like, most likely I'll probably be like, well, I was in there last year. This is some of the things that I saw. These are some water sources. Like but until that point, I have to keep it very generalized, for sure.
So basically, what people should do is sit down and be like, hey, if I'm going to talk to a specialized guide or somebody with a wealth of knowledge, I'm going into Chat GPT and be like, give me a list of interrogation questions to help me find a buck or whatever.
Yeah.
And those are the questions they can start. I'm probably like making it way worse for you guys. Like the work level is going to like increase. But I mean, yeah, I mean, if you want to go into some place and get the job done, like you said, you can answer the question. You just, you have to be kind of vague unless there's a specific question asked. So
yes.
anyway,
And absolutely. The other thing is it's one thing about sitting at a desk talking about it, and it's another thing with boots on the ground. So it doesn't, I could tell you, I could list out as much information as you want. And when you get out there, you'll realize that, unless you're prepared and physically fit, mentally ready, it could blow you, it could wear your boots out pretty quick,
Yeah, well, like we talked about, like maybe what it could do is you might not be able to go up 2 or 3 times a year, but I mean, 120, was it 129? Is that what you said it was?
Yeah, 129. Yep.
So for 129 bucks a year, you can kind of lay the groundwork, and maybe you get to go out 1 week to go kind of do your own scouting, get the boots on the ground. So you can be very, like when you go in and do your own recon, like you can be super targeted and efficient with your time that you do have to go out and scout on your own.
Yes, exactly. And you can't buy anything for 129 bucks anymore. You can't hardly buy a t-shirt,
I can't even fill half a tank of my truck up for 129 bucks.
So the value is very, it's there. And I think that there's limited, we can't keep a whole bunch of people on, so we have limited I guess spots. It's not just like we
so it's like the old monster truck, like this Sunday only for 129. Sign up while tickets are still available.
Yeah.
How many guys do you work with? Do you have like a limit set?
Well, yeah, we do. I'm not going to share that on here, just to make sure that we're keeping that kind of on the.
But you have availability right now if someone's interested.
We do, yes. Yeah, okay. There is some, and especially going into the season where we our draws are out, right? Like we know what we're gonna get, except for Wyoming, which is coming out in a week or so. Actually, I think it's the 19th. But anyways, we're getting to that point where it's getting real, and so it's a good time to talk to somebody, especially if you drew a tag, in Idaho or Montana or Wyoming or whatever, and trying to at least get some networking done. It's definitely worth it. But yeah,
right on. Well, cool.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to reach out, how would they find you guys?
So you can just go to HuntQuarters. So just HuntQuarters.com. And you could sign up on there, or you could get on Instagram. I've kind of gone away from social media a little bit. Just, I get on every week or two, but you can find me just at Matt Tillotson on Instagram or Facebook. And then I also have a YouTube channel, and you can reach out through that, in a comment or something like that. And all of my hunts are documented on there. So you can watch some and be like, this guy's not just blowing smoke. He knows what he's doing. So
He's at least getting it done for himself. Yeah. No,
yeah,
that's good.
yeah.
Well,
So
Matt, do me a favor when we're through, shoot me over the links to everything, and we'll make
okay,
sure that we add those to the show notes. So if someone's trying to find it, maybe they're having a hard time, they can just go check the show notes here on the podcast, and we'll make it easy for them to be able to click and find you. So yeah,
cool, man. That'd be great. Thank you. Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
awesome.
So on that note, since you know how to get the job done, what was your favorite hunt that you did personally last year?
Well, I was, man, I don't know if I can pick. There's two bucks that hit the ground the first 2 weeks of September, that I'm very proud of. One was in Wyoming and one was in Idaho, and they were both they were good deer. They were good deer for me. And I don't know. I really can't pick. I would say, I guess let's just start with the Wyoming buck. I
I was
I
just gonna
had
say maybe we can talk about both of them if we have the time.
Sure, man. Yeah, let's do. Yeah, I mean, so I give you a little backstory. So I used to live in Idaho, um, uh, in a little town. I grew up in a little town called Mackey. It's a tiny little town, farm town, and hunted. Grew up hunting and
Isn't that
fishing.
kind of right on the border of Utah?
No, that I think that's so. There's Malad and there's McCammon, and then there's Mackey. So those do get confused, but Malad is right on the border.
Yeah.
Mackey's up by kind of like Salmon and Chalice. Um,
Okay. So I mean,
um,
yeah.
yeah, but it's central Idaho.
Okay.
But anyways, grew up hunting and fishing up there. My dad taught me, you know, he took me out. I got the bug, and anyways, I learned that area really well. So this is all going to tie in together at some point. But basically, what I'm saying, is I got married, and my wife and I have always wanted to live in Wyoming. And so we decided to make the move 3 years ago after about 10 years of prep work. Where we moved in Western Wyoming, the housing market's pretty difficult. And so we had to be creative on how we were going to make that move. And so, anyways, moved over. So I've been a resident of Wyoming that was 3 years ago. I'm a resident for 2 years, because you got to do it right. Like, if you're going to move to Wyoming or any other state, you got to make sure you do it right. You got to be a non-resident in both states for a year and put your time in, make sure you're doing everything right. Anyways,
So Matt, can I ask you a quick question?
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
What
sure.
what was what was the allure to Wyoming for you and your wife?
You know, Wyoming's special. It's well, there was two factors. We love the scenery. We love the area. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then the second one is like I mentioned before. So I worked as a power lineman, and in Lower Valley, we had the opportunity. Yeah, so I was able to move over here, and ended up getting a job over here. So that's how that kind of all worked. So
Yeah.
those were the two factors. But oh no, you're good, man. So, but yeah, so yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, beautiful. I had an opportunity to move over with the job. We were kind of financially in a good place to make the move. And then on top of that, man, like having a tag in Wyoming where you can buy it in Maverick the day before, like,
Not a
at a
bad gig.
Region G or H, how I don't even know how that's even possible still, but I'm glad. I'm glad it's that way. Um, and I appreciate Wyoming's, um, uh, their, I guess, their support of their residents, because I'll tell you what, it's not easy to live here, with the housing market. The winters are brutal, and the guys that stick it out here, I guess deserve to go buy a tag at Maverick, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that Wyoming honors that. But
Yeah, you see
yeah,
a lot of the reels out there where it's like Wyoming's beautiful, come live here. And then it's like
yeah,
the reality is it's like you've got like 2 nice months and then the rest
that's
of it's just like windy,
so
snowy,
man, yeah.
cold. But
I'll tell you,
it's a beautiful country for sure.
yeah. So there's kind of a snowbird community up here, and it's really funny to watch the situation that plays out because usually people that want to live here, they'll come midsummer, they'll be like, this is where I'm going to live. They'll buy a house. The next spring it's up for sale because the winters are so brutally long. And you know it's pretty intense. So but anyways, yeah, that being said, so long story to get back where I was going with this.
Sorry, yeah, it was my fault. I interrupted you.
No, it's all good. It's no big deal. I mean, we can take whatever rabbit hole you want here. So last year I was able to kill a good deer. It wasn't the experience I guess I was looking for, and there was a lot of things that happened that were a little bit disappointing, but I was happy that it it worked out well. And if you know, you can look on YouTube and see that hunt, and just there's disappointment, but also gratitude for just the country and being in a new place. But yeah, there were some things that happened there. And then this year, I kind of had a chip on my shoulder a little bit. I was pretty. I guess I'd say dedicated to proving myself again, and that, we can kind of guess talk about that. Um, like every year, if you're going to be consistent, you can't bank on the year before or that you've killed 10 bucks before that. You gotta. It's a new season. It's everything's new. So you have to. You can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm a great hunter, and go out expect to kill a nice buck that year. You know, you gotta put in the work. And so anyways, long story short, we come into this season. I scouted a ton. I put in the work physically, mentally, emotionally. I took the week off and I was grinding. And there's this big mountain range, and I was backpack hunting in there, and I couldn't find a good buck I wanted for the first couple days. And then I found the one, and I put a great stock on that buck. He had no clue I was there. He was all by himself. Came in, put an arrow in him at 60. And the thing that's really, I guess, special to me about that hunt is I had dealt with target panic for a while, and I was working through that. And so that moment was kind of a tipping point for me when I was like, okay, you know, I'm over this. Like I'm gonna work through it. I'm done with it. And I guess that's the reason why it's so special is like I never shot a deer that far. I've never shot a deer that far in the wind. And I told myself that I was gonna draw back and put that pin on him, and if it was good, I would execute properly. And that's what I was the most proud of is I executed exactly the way that I had always or had been practicing all summer. And then when that arrow flew, um, because I had not shot that far much before in a hunting situation, the arc of the arrow looked like it went over its back. And so I was a little bit disappointed walking down there, but when I got down, I saw the blood just sprayed out on the one side, and I mean, in the grass. And then I went around the hill, and that buck tipped over, and he reeled down in this beautiful flower basin, and I was able to go grab him. And man, it was pretty epic. I'll tell you that.
So you go from thinking that you missed the shot,
Yeah.
so then you get there, it's like, oh,
Yeah, wait a second here. Yeah. It's but no, just that was a very special deer. and there's so many details I can go into about it, but like it was just a great buck. He's a great buck. He's a mid 180s buck. The 3x4 with a big cheater on the one side or on the 3 side. So, just a neat deer, and to be able to get it done, especially after dealing with that for a few years, I was pretty happy with myself. I had been, talked to Brian Barney multiple times. I've been working with him and just trying to work through that, and I finally was able to get it done. So that was pretty special. But then, so then I'm on cloud nine, right? I got the buck home, got him all taken care of, and I'm sitting there, and this is a week later, sitting there with my wife talking to her. It was like a Monday night or something, and it was 10:30 at night, and I get this text from my buddy in Idaho, and he goes, man, you need to come over here. There's a giant buck. He had just bumped it out of this canyon, and anyways, he was out of cell service, but he had sent me a in reach message. And so I tried to text him back and forth, and I told my wife, I was like, are you okay with me driving across the state to get to him? And she's like, yeah, go ahead. So I drove back. What was really cool was it was like a drive back in time to where I had originally grown up. And I got there, I drove through the night, got there at 3 a.m. I was up at 5. We found the buck. I put a stock on it. Didn't work that morning because he winded me. But I was able to 3 days later get in on him, and I put an arrow in him at 35 yards. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was it was almost like I was saying, once that confidence was there, like, okay, you got this figured out, it was almost like it exponentially increased success. I feel like, okay, that was like one of the pieces of the puzzle that you were missing, and there you got it, and now you can definitely move forward. So those were probably my favorite hunts.
Isn't it wild how the mind can just like defeat you before you've even had a chance?
Dude, I think that mental strength is something that we completely underestimate. Like, just, it doesn't, I mean, physically you have to be able to hike the hills, you have to be able to do these things, but your mind will make or break you super fast.
Well, it's like I think of like Goggins' book, right? Like Can't Hurt Me. He talks like your brain has that regulator on it.
Yeah.
And yes, there's the physical portion to where like you have to physically be able to do it, but our bodies are capable of so much. Like our minds tell us like, hey, you can't do that anymore before the body's actually ready to shut down. Yeah, it was. I went on a ruck this weekend. It was like, I don't know. I think I did like 4 miles or something like that. I don't know what it was. My wife was just walking with me. Yeah. And I started my back started cramping up.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny because like I like muttered, I'm like, you don't know me, son. My wife was like, she was like, what? And I'm like, never mind. I'm like, I'm talking to myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, what did you say? Yeah. And I told her. She's like, where did that come from? I'm like, it's Goggins. I'm like,
yep.
If you know Goggins, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But you do kind of like, cause I'm going, this sucks. And it was probably about like the 3 mile mark. My back starts cramping. My feet are hurting, and it wasn't anything like crazy. It was hot. It was super hot, but I was just sweating and started cramping up. Yeah. And I didn't take any. We didn't go out to go that far. I'm just like, hey, if we're going to go, I'm just going to throw this pack on. She's like, okay. And then I found out how far because she was going on the walk herself. I'm like, oh, I should have grabbed some water for this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and I don't mean to like hijack the conversation,
No,
but
you're good.
it is interesting like how the mind wants to just go into self-preservation mode.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, your back's cramping, you should stop. Your feet are hurting, just like take a break.
Hmm.
And I was just like, I'm just walking. Like I can just keep going. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wait until you have some real weight on your back and your
Yeah.
back starts cramping up and there's no option to stop because you're trying to get back to your truck.
Oh yeah.
But as far as the shooting goes, knock on wood, I've yet to deal with any target panic. I'm sure at
Yeah.
some point it will happen, but
Well, some people just don't deal with it. There's um I think it really depends on personality. I'm a pretty high strung kind of personality, and you know, I think I have a certain degree of anxiety, not in an extreme degree, but which which makes me very aware. Like in a hunting situation, it makes me super, super aware of what's happening um, with animals, with weather, any kind of, I guess, wilderness experience or wilderness factors or variables. I'm very aware of that, but at the same time, that same anxiety or high
hi,
strung personality, whatever, causes causes those moments of like uh, I mean, my patience, that's something that's difficult for me is patience, right?
hmm.
And so that those two variables directly affect target panic specifically because that's a moment where you don't have time to make a decision, um, but you have to make it quickly. Uh, and so you can't you can't process it properly to be able to like control um, anxiety or whatever you want to call it, right? And so you have to like come up with other ways to be able to control it. So the same thing that makes me, I guess, very good at stalking sometimes can cause those moments of target panic or whatever. So it's just, yeah, there's just lots of variables, and everybody I feel is a little bit different. And I'm
Yeah.
glad you haven't. I maybe you will someday, but
I hope
uh,
not.
yeah, it's we kind of talk of it like a sickness. It's not really a sickness, but it definitely is something that will affect you. Um, it will affect us if we don't are not aware of it. And really, if you can't put an arrow through a deer, it doesn't matter how long you're out there, how committed you are, you're not that's the climax point, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to be able to fulfill that. It's a very crucial piece to the puzzle for sure.
For me, and I hope it always stays this way, because like I said, like I've yet to arrow an animal,
Mhm.
because I'm so new to hunting. I'm just learning as I go here.
Mhm.
But I'm kind of high strung
Yeah.
all the time myself.
Hmm.
But for whatever reason, like when I'm shooting my bow, like time just slows down.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's been like a huge blessing to me just going out and shooting and getting comfortable with the bow in my hand and letting the arrow fly. Like I said, when I only have had one encounter with an animal like that I was drawn back on. It was a big bull, very
Hmm.
first time I'd ever gone out 4 years ago, and I drew back. I didn't have a shot on vitals, but I drew back on it, and it was just like everyone's like, "Did you get like like buck fever? Was your heart pounding through your chest?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah. That's
And it's
awesome.
weird because
Yeah.
it was just like everything just like slowed down, and I'm watching him go, and
Hmm.
then felt the wind hit the back of my neck, and then he
Oh
turns
yeah.
and looks at me and
Yep.
bolts out of there. And I was like, oh, and he was like 3 yards from an opening.
Oh
So
man.
it
Yeah.
was like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to have a clean shot. And then I 3 yards, right at that 3 yards, right when I was like, he's close. He's going to step in. And I'm going to have like a broadside shot on him.
Sure.
And the wind hits the back of my neck. He freezes, looks, bolts. And I was just like, that was, for me, that was the point that I was like, I'm hooked, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I want to do this forever. But,
Yeah. It's, yeah, I think you're spot on. And some people can just keep that calm attitude, and some people are more high strung, right? And the thing about it is like everybody, all hunters are different. It doesn't matter if you got a bunch of guys that are consistent. If you look at their strategies and the way that they do it, um, you have to like figure out what's best for you. You know, I can't hunt like Brian Barney all the time, and he's not going to hunt like me. I can't hunt like the Go Hunt guys all the time, because we're all different. We all have physical,
yeah.
uh, abilities. We're all just different. So it's important to make sure that like this HuntQuarters thing, that's the first meeting that we do is we literally just talk to the person and we get to know who they are, because I can tell first meeting on the personality of who I'm talking to and how um how the hunt could, what would be best for them in a hunt situation, and what are some tactics or tips I could give them to, I guess, magnify those strengths that they have, and then focus on some of those weaknesses as well. Make sure that they don't break the hunt, you know.
So
Um, so
what are some of the questions that you ask to get to know these guys?
well, first of all, I want to know, did they grow up hunting? Like,
Yeah,
is it,
do me.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, like if I was going to talk to you about it, I would first off, I would just have you explain how where you grew up, what was your hunting experience, maybe like just talk to me about your lifestyle, like
Yeah.
what do you like to do, right? Other than hunting, what do you like to do? Because I can tell really quickly if if the things they like to do are going to be I mean, so let me give you an example. One of the guys that I talked to, he's a marathon runner. Okay, he is very intellectually smart. He's been through very intense schooling, and his lifestyle when he was growing up, it was hard. Like he has not had an easy life. Okay, and that kind of person will never quit. That's the person that you can send into the backcountry or be like, man, you can sleep on the ground and you're going to be just fine, right? But on the flip side, there's other things out there. If it was way easier lifestyle, or you never got out of your comfort zone, if there was, then there's going to be it's going to be more difficult thing for someone to be out there sleeping in a bivy sack, right? Or sleeping in grizzly country, or walking out in the dark, or hiking in the dark, or those things are the weaknesses that I would probably sit down and talk to them about. Like, hey, you know, this is how it's going to be. Maybe focus on, go out for a walk through the woods at night, and see how you deal with it. See if you can do it or not.
Mm.
Um, and I act like I know what I'm doing. I don't really. I'm not like a psychiatrist or anything, or
Well,
what is it, yeah, psychologist, yeah,
yeah, I don't
but
know. You do a
whatever it is,
psychoanalysis on people.
psychoanalysis, yeah. But I can tell, just because, like, you can almost just tell from past experience on how much you can push somebody, probably, or how much information that they can digest, to be able to be successful. And everyone can be successful. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying that one's going to be better than the other, but
Well, but you can kind of help them tailor the strategy to what best suits their personality.
exactly. So like, you know, like a Colorado hunt, right? If they're talking about trying to apply for a mule deer tag, there's certain people that I would probably urge to go hunt the high country, and there's other people that I might be like, hey, maybe push towards the third season low country sage hunt or something of that sort, just so that they get the best experience that they are looking for, and to be successful. I want everybody to be successful, and like not everybody. I will say that like I can kind of tell in the first few meetings like how individuals are, like what's best for them, I would say, or the way that I could help them. But there are people that have just flip a switch and go from, the comfort zone area to like doing ice bass and running 10 miles a day and grinding and like out in the dark, sleeping in the dirt. And those kind of guys, I mean, it's a learned process and anybody can do it. It just takes a lot of, like we're talking about, mental fortitude to be able to make that switch, I guess.
Yeah. If for, I mean, a lot of the people that listen to our podcast, I don't even know if that's true anymore. When we first started, I mean, we were focused on people that are new to hunting.
Yeah.
But our audience has grown significantly as of late, and we're getting a lot of people that have got a ton of experience hunting.
Yeah,
but
cool.
Nonetheless, I will say this. If you haven't prepared and gone and pushed yourself with the pack on up the side of a mountain,
oh man,
you should do that before you ever set. If you're like, hey, I'm going to go out and try and get it, because it is brutal.
Oh,
it's brutal. Like one of the best advice that was given to me that helped me start to train and get better was like, hey, grab a pack, throw a 40-pound bag of salt in the back and go up to the mountain as far as you can go. And then if you're coming down and it's steep and your knees starting to hurt, start dumping salt out. The deer that are up there will appreciate it. The animals will be like, oh, hey, great. Look what I found. Yeah. But when I started doing that, like it made me, I'm not fast. I don't claim to be fast on the mountain, but I can just go at a steady pace.
Yeah. And that's perfect.
The first time I went up there, I was like a lot fatter than I am right now. And I mean, I did it. I had prepared and I started walking and training and getting up there, but I was sucking wind. And it does really come down to like a year-round thing, to where like, if you want to hunt in the high country, like you have to be at a different level of shape.
Oh yeah.
And it's not just strong. Strong is good, but you that's why, like I said, it was, my wife and I, like, it was hot. I mean, it was hot, and I threw that pack on and I'm like, I need to get time with some weight on me and get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because, and my wife, she's like, do you want me to take it? And I looked at her, I'm like,
nope.
This thing's not coming off me.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's awesome.
But yeah, like, but you have to kind of just like, if you start having like a back spasm or something or a cramp, like it will pass. Sometimes, I mean, if you're in the backcountry, you might need to legitimately stop. Yeah. I mean, I was at that point probably like a mile or so away from my, getting back home. And so I was like, I suck it up, deal with it for a mile.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on the time of year that you're hunting, it could be the difference between like a life and death situation, because if the cold comes in and you're hot and sweaty and you don't have the proper gear that you can like temperature regulate, and you get stuck up on the side of a mountain and you can't get back to your camp, you could have hypothermia set in. I mean, it's a bad situation. There's a lot of things, like you said, that people just need to take into consideration, especially if you're new. And even if you're not new, I mean, just I think sometimes people get out there, like you said, these guys that just have this like mindset, like, yeah, you're not going to stop me. And that's
Hmm.
good until you don't have what it takes.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's still worth preparing and digging into and trying to figure out what works best for folks.
Yeah. No, 100%, man. I totally agree. And like we were talking, there's some guys that have the mental strength beyond anyone I've ever met, but they have zero understanding of equipment, or they have very, uh, I guess they just need to work on, you know, we all need to work on things. Like I'm working on stuff every single day. I'm running, I'm working out. Matter of fact, I was just at the chiropractor, right? And I was talking to him. I'm like, man, I ran 10 miles and my IT band's starting to mess with me and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, do these stretches and maybe work with this. So it's not, I mean, nobody, it doesn't matter how many animals you put on the ground, you still always improve. Like you're always trying to get better every single day. Um, and as long as you have that attitude, I feel like you'll be successful even if you get an animal or you don't, right? So, um, yeah, definitely that the mindset is hard to, or the mental strength is hard to build. Like it takes longer, I feel,
Oh yeah.
to
Like
build,
that's
you know?
not always been like a strong suit of mine, having
Yeah,
like that mental discipline. Like I still have a long way to go,
yeah,
but like the gym now, like
yeah.
before, I mean, up until I was off and on at the gym, but I'm like consistent, like
That's
four to
awesome.
five, 4 to 5 times a week. Like I
Okay.
don't let a day go by now without like a minimum of 12,000 steps. I know it doesn't
Dude.
sound like a lot, but 12,000 steps, like when you're tired,
Yeah,
like on the weekend, on a Sunday, it's like,
yeah. Dude, that's
do I,
awesome. It's
do I
awesome.
want to go do that? So it's crazy how like hunting can change you.
Yeah.
It's like I was getting ready to go in for a meeting this morning, and my wife's like, "You can't wear those pants." She's like, "You just need to like throw them away." She's like, "They don't fit you anymore."
Yeah.
And
That's
I was like, "Well, like 2 years ago, they fit me just fine." She's like, they're like they drown you now. She's like, "You got to get rid of them."
that's cool, dude.
And
That's
I'm
cool.
like, "Oh, well, I mean, it's a cool thing, but I also am like cheap, and I don't want to go buy new
Yeah.
clothes."
So
And
you
so
just
she's
cut
like,
them off. You can wear shorts.
"Yeah."
Just
Well,
kidding.
still like around the waist, it's like they
Oh,
just,
I got you. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, the way it's just, it's like, I'm like,
That's awesome.
it's a cool thing because like I look back and I'm like, these were tight on me and
Yeah.
now they drown me. Like I have to like cinch the belt up and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, well, yeah, it's time to retire these things. But it's little things. It's little things that just push you to where, like when I started going to the gym, like there are days that I don't want to go to the gym, but once I'm
Yeah.
there, I'm like, okay, all right, I'm here. Like, let's get after it. There's days that I don't want to get up and get the miles in,
Yeah.
but, and I don't run. I don't claim to be a runner. I hate running.
No.
I've got a torn meniscus, but dude, I'll walk, I'll put a pack on and I'll just go.
Yeah.
And it's been, it's been a good thing. Yeah, and again, I go into the doctor and they're like, "Hey, your cholesterol's down, your blood pressure is perfect." Like, there's listing all these things. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like,
You're like, I'm having fun in
"Fine,
September running around the
yeah,
mountains.
fine tune. You're just fine tuning little things. Like, you start eating better, and then as I've got on a diatribe here on a whole bunch of different things, but the whole point is as you start to enforce discipline into your life, all the little things, like during the week, I'll eat really good. And then on the
Hmm.
weekend, I'll go out with the wife and I'll get, concrete
Yeah.
from Nelson's Custard. That's like my guilty
Yeah.
pleasure. Right.
Yeah.
So, but then I get right back on it the rest of the week, and,
Yeah.
and as you do those things, it becomes easier to start new habits of discipline that will
Sure.
make you a better hunter. It'll make you a better father. It'll make you a better husband, make you a better employee, business owner. I mean, on and on and on.
Yeah.
So it is there is something to be said about individuals that can tap into that discipline level and really push it forward to help them improve all aspects of their life.
Yeah. I love it. Yep, for sure, man. You can only do, I mean, I the there's so many things about like hunting that are good for anybody's lifestyle. And I think, we can talk, it's part of our blood. Like as much as we don't want to say, there's so many views of hunting nowadays that like good and bad, right? But it's something that kept us alive. It's something that if you tap into it, it's a passion that will definitely run your life in a good way. Like you're saying, all those improvements that you make, all the dedication that you put in, it's all for September, right? It's all for August or whenever. When you got a tag and you've got a weapon in your hand and you're out there running around the hills. But as you look back on it, the man you were last year, the man you were this year, what a great passion to have, to be able to like, you got to put it somewhere. You might as well put it into hunting for sure. I think it's
Well,
great. But
and like you said, like the side effects of hunting,
yeah,
if it's something that you get into, and I'm talking like if you get into hunting to where like you're hunting archery and you're in the
hmm
backcountry and you have to
hmm
be able to do that, like the side effects for your family are you're going to be around longer.
oh yeah,
I mean, you're going to
yep,
be healthy. You don't run the risk of like dropping dead in your mid 40s. I mean,
yeah,
I turn 46 next month,
hmm
and I'm like, I feel good.
yeah.
Like I feel
You
like I'm
look good,
probably
dude.
in
You
like the
look good.
best shape that I've been my entire, like, I mean, aside
Yeah,
from when I was in high school and that, but
yeah,
I got married young and we had kids and went to work and I sat around at a desk and stuffed my face and
hmm
was lethargic and didn't move much. And then, you start seeing guys like Cam Haines and Joe Rogan and Jocko and
oh yeah,
Goggins. And it's like, you know, I'm like, when this whole thing started, I made a T-shirt that said DBAP, and I had like a flag background in there. It's like, "Don't be a pussy." My wife hates that word, but
yeah,
I made this hoodie, and that was kind of, I started wearing that, and I was just like, dude, suck it up, man. Like, get
yeah,
after it. Go do something with your life.
yeah.
And
Well,
it's been a ton of fun. I mean, that was 4 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe 4 years, right around COVID. But yeah, it's the and you think back about it too. I know that it seems so long ago, but it was just like less than 100 years ago that homes in the United States had electricity in it.
yes,
I want to say it
exactly.
was like in the 1930s is when it kind of became like mainstream.
hmm Yep,
So it's like
yep.
not that long ago, like you had to go hunt to
Oh
feed
yeah,
your family. You had to go hunt, and then you had to build a cache in the ground that was deep enough that would keep the meat cool, or
yep.
you'd have to like smoke it. I mean, we've got it good, man.
Yes,
Like,
yeah. It's we need to be careful that we don't get too comfortable, right? I think that's a really good, you know, we as we as a people need to make sure that we are uncomfortable, right? Like there's nothing wrong with being uncomfortable. We're trying to put we're trying to take that away from every situation. And I'm not saying these are bad things, but like even just AI, right? It's something that like we don't even have to think anymore hardly. We can just
yeah,
throw it in there and which is nothing wrong with that if you got stuff going on. But like even the comforts of our lives are I think weakening our minds, and so we need to make sure that we go out in the hot sun and pack salt to the top of the mountain, because that's actually like kind of balancing us out, I think. And
and
I
I
love
think
that.
you're seeing a return to that in society.
Yes, yeah,
I think you're starting to see more and more of that,
yeah,
um,
for
where
sure.
people are just wanting to they want to feel alive.
Yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
it's nice to turn off the electronics and disappear for a little bit, because I mean, too, like you used to talk about like getting uncomfortable. I
Hmm.
mean, dude, we have Israel and Iran right now like lobbing bombs at each other.
Right. Yeah.
And now the talk is like, hey, we might want to launch some strategic targeted nuclear
Hmm.
bombs. And I'm going,
Yeah. We yeah. I don't even know where to go with that.
well, you don't need to go anywhere with that. All
Yeah.
I'm saying is like if shit hit the fan and people started attacking the power grids,
Hmm.
like people that know how to hunt are going to be able to, one, keep their families fed, and two, they're going to know how to protect their homes
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
and their families. I mean, if you know how to use a firearm, if you know how to use a bow, like, I mean, I know that it sounds like that's like apocalypse,
Right.
post-apocalyptic, like crazy talk, but it's also not that crazy to be thinking about right now. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not like a doomsdayer. I'm not a guy that thinks like, oh, like the end is coming, but you want to be prepared for if something goes south. And like
Absolutely.
one of
Yeah.
the best ways that you can make sure that your family's taken care of is, can I feed them if the grocery store shut down?
Yeah. Yeah. That absolutely. Yeah. Do you have a freezer full of meat? Right. That's a good food
And the
storage.
freezer full of meat's only any good if you have electricity.
Well, that's
So,
exactly right.
and
Yeah.
then you've got a generator. The generator will keep it going, but at some point, once all the gas stations run out of gas, if gas isn't getting moved around, like
Yeah.
the generator is going to go out.
Yeah.
So,
It's
I mean, like I say, I hate to be like a doomsday guy, and I'm really not.
yeah.
But those are things that it's like, hey, look, I know that I could take an animal down and feed my family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
It's
if
hunting is every I'm very passionate about it, but like I think everything about it is good. There's there's very few things. I mean, there are a few things that are negative or can be negatives. It's more about like culture, I guess, or the cliques, or whatever kind of groups. That there are a few negatives, but like as a hunting as a whole is a very, very beneficial thing for every individual. I'm excited about my kids getting involved. Um, it's a good thing, definitely, but very
yeah,
excited. So
awesome.
yeah, that's great, dude. I appreciate people that enjoy being in the hot sun and with their back just killing them, they keep going. Matter of fact, I was on this run, and like I was saying, my IT bands were working up, and that's in your knees. And I was on
That's the
mile.
worst, dude.
Oh my heck,
IT band pain is like,
dude!
yep.
It's like knives, right? It's like knives on your outside of your knees. And I was on mile 8, and I was following this guy, and he was kind of keeping the pace. And we were running down the mountain and down the trail, and I told myself, I said, I don't care how bad it gets, I am not stopping. And it was to the point where like it was knives, and when you push through those kind of things, and then next time you realize that you can even go further, right? That you can
It's
push
that
further.
regulator.
Yes. So like, and it's even the fact of like, okay, if your mind's when it's gonna your mind will tell you to shut down. um but say you have like a 10-mile hike or whatever, it's 10 miles up front. If you have a mile long hike, or if somebody says, hey, we're going to go on a mile long hike, you're going to shut down on 3/4 of a mile almost, right? It doesn't
Mm.
it's just a mental block in there, um to where like, okay, I'm almost there. um we can start being more comfortable now, right? But if you have the attitude of like, I'm going to go 10 miles, then on mile 1 you're still going, right? Like it's
Mm.
that mental block's not there. But
Yeah.
yeah.
One of the things that I've done when I'm out like trying to push, and whether I'm like rucking or whatever it is I'm doing, like, or even just walking, I mean, I was running for a while. I haven't run in a while, but when I was running a couple of years ago, I would find like a marker, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I start hurting, I'm like, I'm just going to run to that light pole.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay. Then I get there. I'm like, all right, dude, you can't quit now. Like, don't,
Let's go
DBAP,
another 20
DBAP.
runs, 20 steps.
Yeah. Well, no, then then it's just like, okay, well now I'm going to go. If I'm running on the road, I'm like, well, I'm just going to make it to that crosswalk down there.
Yeah.
That's maybe 100 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, DBAP, right? Like, hey, pick another thing and just keep going. You just keep pushing.
Yeah.
If you break it down like that, like once you really start to hurt and like the lungs are burning and like you're breathing heavy, if you find those little markers and they don't, I mean, dude, sometimes it may be like 40 yards. It's not far.
Yeah.
It's just to like, okay, I'm just like, so I forget about everything else. I just like lock in and I'm like going towards that crosswalk or that like bush out. If I'm up in the mountains, it's like, I just got to get to that.
Yeah.
And then and then I pick something else. Like, it's just like a way that I've found to trick my mind to where it's not like, oh, I have to stop. It's like, well, you can stop after you reach that. And then I get there and then I do like that self-talk, like Goggins says, you don't know me, son. But I'm like, you want to quit now? Like, just pick something else. Like, just keep going. Just pick something else and go to that. Then you can take a break.
Dude, that's
and
awesome.
It's like, look, dude, you got more in you. Just keep going. So anyway.
I love it. I love the attitude, man. That's great.
So
it's I have the exact same thing hiking, actually. So I have this, it's called the 70 step rule. And it starts out on a 40. So on a steep grade, what I'll do is I'll do 40 steps. That's how I start out, right? And then I stop. And then, and this is like building up, right? So throughout the summer, I start with 40 and I'll go 40. I'll stop for 10 seconds. I'll go another 40. And then I'll keep working my way up the mountain. And then pretty soon you work up and up and up. And, at some point you're doing 70, 80, 90 steps. And it's the same concept. It's just like, I can do this. I've done it before. Let me push myself just a little further and, stretch that mental capacity and physical, for sure. So yeah, definitely very cool. But
yeah, man. Yeah. Well, Matt, hey dude, as we wrap up here, like what's some advice that you would share with somebody that whether they're new to hunting or they've been hunting a while and maybe they just have lost a little bit of the luster for it, like whether it's just not been success or just whatever. Any thoughts you want to share?
So I would say that just keep doing it. Like, just keep going. If you haven't found success yet, it doesn't mean that you're a failure. It probably just means that you've been put in a situation where maybe it just didn't come together for you, but it will. And I would say, if you're disappointed about not being successful, it's probably just the situation. And, if you're even thinking about that, you're showing mental strength, right? Because you want it to work. And so I just say, keep working, keep grinding, and make 2025 your year. As soon as you get an arrow or you put a buck down with a bow or put one down with a rifle, whatever, it starts getting easier. It just takes a few times, and then it becomes more of a habit. So I would just say, just get out there, enjoy yourself, and go get it.
Well said. Appreciate it. Hey guys, again, we'll put links in the show notes. Go give Matt a follow. It's Matt Tillotson, HuntQuarters, YouTube, Instagram, all the places. Yeah, if you guys feel like you've learned something, or there's something that, another hunter, or just a life lesson that you thought would be beneficial, please share this podcast with somebody. Send it out to them. Let them know you're thinking about them. And I appreciate all the support. This is the fastest growing hunting podcast in the United States. I'm going to say it until it becomes true.
Hey,
But it's been fun seeing like the growth come, and we get to have great guests like Matt here, and all the other folks. So give us a follow, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. It's Hunt Stealth, the Hunt Stealth podcast. Stay safe and God bless.